Okay, year 8. I'm just going to go through a couple of the questions that I said in here. I'm not going to do them all, but solving problems by using Pythagoras Theorem. When we did the other two exercises, the first one we're finding the hypotenuse and the second one was finding a short side. In this exercise, and I had to go to another textbook to get that. This is Mathscape. In this exercise, you have to come to a conclusion about which one you're going to use. You have to work out, well, am I going to find the hypotenuse or am I going to find the short side? So let's have a look. And I said to do 1F, G, H, and I. Now, let's have a look. And I'm going to do two of these. One's going to be a short side and one's going to be a hypotenuse. So I'll do 1F and I'll do 1H. All right? Now, let's have a look at 1F. And remember, you can just set the equation up. So I've got to find L. So this is 1F. And I go, L squared equals. Now, L is a hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. L squared equals 6 squared plus 3 squared. Remember, when we find the hypotenuse, we square them, we add them, we square root them. And then I use my calculator, and I do this all in one go. 6 squared plus 3 squared, 45. So L squared equals 45. Therefore, L equals the square root of 45. And again, I do that on my calculator. Square root 45. 6.70. 6.70, and there were a whole lot of other numbers. For one decimal place, I've got to stop there. So it's going to be 6 point something. Now I look immediately behind the decimal, other number that red line. If the number behind that red line is 5 or more, I will make the number in front of it bigger by 1. But it's not. It's 0. So I don't touch it. And I can check the answers because the answers are on the web page. And question, what are we doing? 1F, 6.7. Let's have a go at 1H. Now 1H, set it up again. J squared. Now if I'm looking at H, it's not the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is over here. So I'm finding a short side. And remember, when I'm finding the short side, I square, subtract, then square root. So 45, because I always take the biggest one squared, minus 19 squared. Again, straight to my calculator. 45 squared minus 19 squared. And there we go, 1664. And that's what J squared is equal to. Now J will equal the square root of that. It's just an equation. And again, calculator. Square root 1664. 40.792. 40.792. And again, there are a whole lot more numbers there. I'm going to one decimal place. So I've got to look just behind that red line. It's going to be 40 point something. But if I look behind that red line, the number is bigger than 5. It's a 9. So that means I must round the next number up by 1. So it becomes 40.8. And that's 1H. You can have a go at the others because I want to make this a quick video. Question 2. Now here, they didn't give you a diagram, so you have to draw it. So a ladder, of length 9 meters, goes up the side of a wall. So we'll draw a picture. Here's my wall. And I have a ladder going up this wall. Now, my ladder is 9 meters and it goes 7 meters up the wall. So 7 is from here to here. I need to find how far from the base of the wall is the ladder. All right. Now, we're going to assume that the wall is perpendicular. Get back here. And I'm going to give this side a pronumeral. I don't know, x. And by the way, this is question 2. All right. So now I've got this right angle triangle. I'm going to redraw it, but you don't need to. I've got an x there, a 9 there, and a 7 there. And I've got to find this side. The right angle is here, so the hypotenuse is opposite. So I'm finding a short side. So I'm going to subtract. X squared equals 9 squared minus 7 squared. Again, straight to your calculator. 9 squared minus 7 squared, 32. 32, that's what x squared equals. To find x, I've got a square root. Again, calculator, square root, 32. 5.65, I don't know how many decimal places I've got to go to yet. I'm going to write square root 32. Over here, I'm going to look at the question, 1 decimal place. What was it again? 5.65. 5.65, and then a whole lot of numbers. I look at this number here, and I go, 5 point. Now the number behind is 5 or more, so I'll make this one bigger, 5.7. And it was in meters, so I better give the dimensions there. So question 2, 5.7 meters. Now I'm going to let you do some others. Let's try, you go and have a go at 4 and then come back to this video. I'm going to do it and you can check it when you get back. So 4, Gary drove, so I have to draw a diagram. Gary drove north, or 22 kilometres due north and 120 kilometres due west. Okay, so here's 4. So Gary drove north. North is up. Remember, or if you don't know, our 4-star compass. North, south, east, west. So Gary drove 22 kilometres north and then 120. You don't have to draw it to scale, but at least it gives you an idea. And because he went due, that's a 90 degrees. That's 22. That's 120. This is where he started, and this is where he is now. So I need to find this distance. I'm not going to use x this time. I'll use another letter. It doesn't matter which letter you use. I'll use k. Let's double check that we've got all the information right. Gary drove 22 kilometres north, turned 120 kilometres due east. How far is he? Okay. So now I've set it up. I'm just going to solve it. Now this time I am finding the hypotenuse. So k squared equals 22 squared plus 120 squared. Now it's also good at this point to realise that k is the longest side, so my answer will have to be bigger than 120. Let's see what we get. Again, calculator. 22 squared plus 120 squared, 14884. 14884. Now I have to square root that. Oh, it's a terrible 8. And again, I use my calculator, square root. Oh, can you just do your answer? Yes, you can. 122 kilometres. And guess what? That's a Pythagorean triad. 22, 120, and 122. Well, there's something interesting. And just check, that's the right answer. So let's go back. What other ones did I ask you to do? 10, 17, 18, and 19. 10. I'm going to skip 10 because all you have to do is find this side and then add them all up. So that's pretty easy. I want to get to 17 because someone asked about that. So I'm going to use their diagram. So a farmer wishes to construct a fence around a paddock. And there's a paddock. And it's not quite a square. I'm going to draw the rest of it in. So I'm going to go and draw that in. And now I've got a right angle triangle. And remember, X is this line here. That's what we've got to find. It's a missing side. So how do I know what these sides are? Well, this distance is 70 and this distance is 22. So this distance here is 70 minus 22. And again, calculator, 70 minus 22, 48. So that's 48. Over here, this distance is 70 and this distance is 15. So this distance is 70 minus 15. Again, calculator, 70 minus 15. Oops, I need 700. 70 minus 15, 55. So now I can find X because that triangle, which I'm going to redraw here, but you don't need to. There's my X. What was this again? 48. What was this again? I've forgotten already. 55. Now, the right angle is in there, so that's the hypotenuse. So X is going to be the longest. X squared equals 55 squared plus 48 squared. Again, calculator, 55 squared plus 48 squared. 5329. 5329. That's what X squared is. So X equals the square root of that. 5329. Again, on your calculator, I'm just going to square root my answer, 73. And again, that's another Pythagorean triad. So X equals 73. That's A. But B, calculate the perimeter. Oh, well, what was the perimeter? B. Well, I just have to add up all the bits. So the perimeter equals, let's have a look at the diagram, 70, 70, 15, 22, and the number I got for X. So the perimeter is 70 plus 70 plus 22 plus 15 plus 73. I'm a bit concerned about that. I don't think it can be 73. What am I doing? 17. Yeah, it is 73. Okay. So I add those up, and again, calculator, 70 plus 70 plus 22 plus 15 plus 73. 250. So the perimeter is 250 metres. Now question C. Determine the cost of the fencing if it's $35 per metre. Well, the cost is 35 times how many metres? 250. So I'll just take my answer and times 35. and it's 8,750. And that's correct. Okay. I'm going to go to 19. This is one of the hardest ones. The stick in the box, or in this case, a pencil in a pencil case, and we're finding a pencil that'll fit into it. So this is really hard. The pencil, if you go and get a box, you can put a pencil in from the bottom corner to the top corner. If you lie a pencil flat, you're going to get Pythagoras again. But what we want to do is we want to find a pencil from the bottom corner to the top corner. Okay, I'm not too fussed about B, but here we go. So the first thing, if I'm looking down at the top of the pencil case, I'm looking down, and I'm looking at that red line that I drew. Oh, come on, I don't want that. I'm looking at that red line that I drew. So imagine you're looking down at the pencil case from there, and you can see that red line at the bottom of the box. Well, we need to find that first. And we know that the box is 12 and that this is 9. Oh, geez, that's horrible. Which means this over here is 9. So I can now, I'm going to give this a letter. I'm going to call it X. And because it's opposite the right angle triangle, the 90 degrees, it's a hypotenuse. So what I'm trying to find, X, 12, 9. And away I go. X squared equals 12 squared plus 9 squared equals 12 squared plus 9 squared. 225. Now I could stop there because I don't actually need X. What I'm going to need is X squared, and I'm going to show you now. I do know that the square root of 225 is 15. But I'm just going to use this bit of information here because you don't have to do that second bit. What I have to find, so there's my X. X is at the bottom there. I need to find this blue line here. And this blue line, I'm going to call Y. Now, there's another right angle triangle there, look, going from the bottom of the box to the top of the box. I've already worked out X is 15, and I know that's 8. So let's draw that triangle. Oops. So remember, the line going up to the top of the box, the line going across the diagonal of the bottom of the box, and we've got this here. Now that's 90 degrees. That's 8. We worked out that's 15, and we want to work out this. And I've said, let that be Y. So Y is again the hypotenuse. See its opposite, the 90 degrees? So Y squared equals 15 squared plus 8 squared. Remember, 15 is equal to X. So it's X squared. Oh, so I could have just used the 225 because when I go 15 squared, it's 225 plus 64. I'm just going to check that, 225 plus 64, 289, and I'm going to type in the original one to make sure I get the right answer, the same answer. 15 squared plus 8 squared, 289. So Y squared is 289. Y equals the square root of that, 289. Again, just square root your answer, 17. So the longest pencil that can fit in the box. So you could have put a pencil on the bottom of the box and laid it flat, and that would have been 15. You would have got 15 centimetre pencil there. But if you got a 17 centimetre pencil, you could put it from the bottom of the box to the top of the box, and that would fit in. Now, they tell you to now do this using A, B, and C. Well, let's see what would have happened if I'd used A, B, and C. So, I don't know. Let's let that be A, that be B, and that be C. So, the bottom of the box is x squared equals a squared plus b squared, and y squared equals 8 squared plus x squared. But x squared is just that. Oh, sorry, I wrote 8, c squared. So y squared equals c squared plus a squared plus b squared, because that's what x is, or x squared is. And we'll just write them in the same order, because it doesn't matter which way you add things. And that's what y squared is. Well, how do we find what y is when we've got it squared? We just square root. So y equals a square root of a squared plus b squared plus c squared. Now, I'm not too fussed. I'm not too fussed if you did that. If you were able to work, or if you don't understand it, don't worry. If you were able to work out the 17, very good, 17 centimetres. But I'm not that fussed about 19b. If you've been able to do these questions from this textbook, Mathscape, and get them correct, you are ready to go. Make sure you're doing all the work on Hot Maths and prepare yourself for the holidays coming up.